So, hello everyone. I think this is going to be the only presentation in English. I'm a Swiss by origin, so I'm very happy to be here today, and I hope this is fine for you. And I'm presenting the new modality support, which is an exciting new project that was started and initiated by GU Ventures, which revolves around the field of advanced therapeutics. My name is Edward Rohner. I'm the NMS lead, and I'm a scientist by background, and I did my PhD before being here in Karolinska. Before moving to Gothenburg, where my wife's originally from. So before diving into NMS, I first wanted to give you a little walkthrough through advanced therapeutics. And advanced therapeutics incorporates ATMPs, which are cell, gene therapies, mRNA therapies, and oligonucleotide therapies. And what's interesting with them is their very high and new potential that they represent to disrupt the whole healthcare system, the whole drug development plan, everything that we do normally today with normal biologics, small molecules, we're taking a complete new shift around them. And if I just go through what makes them so disruptive is, first of all, we can now access and target a complete new realm of medical targets, and not dealing with the symptoms, but dealing and treating in a curative way many diseases. Most of these targets were intracellular, which were very hard to target beforehand, but now we have access to them. So many pathologies are considered undruggable, and targets are considered undruggable are now druggable. So that opens a complete new realm there. Secondly, we are not looking at chronic delivery, which is the case for many medications today. With a lot of these long-lasting diseases, you have patients taking drugs for 20, 30, 40 years, and what usually happens is after a bunch of years, they get tired of those medications. They don't start stopping to take them, don't take them as recommended, and it's one of the biggest issues when it comes for long-lasting diseases is the resistance of the patients to take the drugs. That's a case in my own family with my mother that I'm convincing nearly every month to restart her treatment because she's fed up of taking it weekly injections and the symptoms she gets from it, which is very, very common. Other aspect of it is there's a new modality aspect or platform aspect of these medications where you encode the molecule differently, but in theory it's the same type of molecule you're developing. It's very different from the chemical small molecule aspect where the manufacturing of them is actually quite complicated itself. So this represents not only, like you see on the graph here, that you have all these new druggable targets, but also the curative potential. And this potential is also represented in big growth prospects in these type of new modalities, where it is estimated that there will be a progressive shift in the medical system about adopting more and more of these medications. And we can already see that general deals done by bigger pharma and biotech companies are getting higher up in the numbers, showing there's an attractiveness of being a player in this field. But it is a risky environment. It is a novel one. It's not adopted. There's big challenges for it, as when you're doing anything disruptive, even more in a very highly regulated space, as in the health industry, you're going to have a lot of defensiveness towards adopting them. We're looking at having to reinvent reimbursement plans, reinvent regulatory pathways for it as well. So there's a lot of challenges as well in there, but a lot of potential. And that potential is something that the Nordics, and specifically Sweden, has been very proactive in being a part of. There's been, at a governmental level, strategically, a lot of emphasis of the importance of being a player in developing and being at the forefront of developing these advanced therapeutics. There's been many, many initiatives for building infrastructure and a lot of capital put towards developing this infrastructure in Sweden and in the Nordics. And you don't see that everywhere, to point that out. It's something quite unique in the way that how it's organized over here. But investing in the infrastructure isn't enough. This is really helping projects at a technical level. But if you're looking at taking projects from academia, which is what Sweden is very good at, point of view of all the innovative science coming out of your universities, there's a lot of other factors that have to come in to actually get that all the way through the commercialization path, funding companies, getting investors interested in it, and that technical infrastructure doesn't incorporate that into their system. And this is a bit where NMS started as a collaborative project between many different actors here in Gothenburg, but it's a national project, and I'd like to emphasize that. And the different actors that got involved in creating this joint project represent the different realms that you would go through this path of a project and go all the way to commercialization. So you have the academic part, you have the industry part, and the healthcare part through for our founding partners, CCRM Nordic, Olegonova, Geo Ventures, which is the coordinator of this program, Saganska Academy, and Saganska Sjukhuset. So in this pool of institutions, you can really foresee how, if you're an early academic project, via us, you have access to all this pool of knowledge and information that are common problems and boundaries that you will get in your track and journey in your startup journey. So you can therefore have access and facilitate these problems. And the goal of NMS is really helping navigate that startup journey when it comes to individual research, to the company formation and aspect of commercialization. And we're not here as consultants who go in, that we're either paid for by the companies, but we're here for giving an overall oversight of the company, helping the founders highlight where their boundaries and the blockages are, and getting them in contact with the actual specialists and the services that we know of that can help them go and advance faster through this process. As if you're thinking of these companies in this space, which is a much more challenging space than many others there, they're at a very critical stage when they're trying to get out of academia. Their funding is difficult for it. Your valley of death is a bit elongated, and you have to not only get the project through all these different steps, but you also have to convince financiers to fund it as well. And that is not a given, and therefore extra help is needed there. And that extra help is us. And the team, we have 6 people are the core team of NMS, so myself here on the left as the lead. Frey von Sell is also working at Olegonova, which is focusing part of the SciLife DDD, focusing on the oligonucleotides. Stephanie Mattsson working at CCRM Nordic as Venture Development Director. Sara Malkus and Helena Lundqvist, Helena's over here today as well, which really represent people that have been through either the startup journey or a lot part of the pharma and has a very extended network in this realm. And Carl Peter, that I'm sure a lot of you already know, which is our financial expertise into this team. So when you see this core team, you have to not only think that when people get access to us and talk to us, it's not only the realm doesn't stop here. We are just the cornerstone of the whole network that we all represent and that people can have access to via us and speed up those processes. And NMS has 3 main focus areas are identified as necessary: sector expertise, funding and investment, and fostering collaboration. So sector expertise is more a bit on the technical side. Either it is that you have more research level problems, or you need access to a certain technology or expertise or knowledge. We try to get you the right person for that, to solve that problem. The second part of creation and scaling is something very common that academics don't know how to do if they're first-time entrepreneurs, is what's your commercial market strategy, how do you get the right paperwork to form a company, and so on. These are parts that usually it's not part of their skill set and they need support with. And finally, regulatory, which is access to the regulatory pathway expertise and help with their IP situation and IP filings, which is strategically very important in the survival or generating value and assets for your company. The second part, funding and investment, this is also extremely important given that most academics don't go through these processes and don't have that skill set. The coaching part is looking at what their pitch is, what their story is, how they're presenting it. Also, do they have the right documentation? Are they prepared to meet the investors? Where in this space today, investors are getting more and more knowledgeable. Are these new companies and startups ready to face them and prepared enough? And secondly, access to the right type of investor and platforms. Normally, they might have a small group around them and a network, but finding the right investor to invest even more in these type of projects, which are high risk, longer timelines, need to be well aligned, because otherwise your company is also going to suffer gravely down the line. So really this aspect of trying to pair them with the right type of people is services that we offer. And finally, fostering collaboration throughout the ecosystem. I said this is a nationwide program, but on a collaborative side, we want to expand way further than that. Given that I am from Switzerland, I'm trying very strongly to attract more of the Swiss eye onto the Swedish ecosystem. I think there's a lot of potential there, given the natural profiles of our both countries. One was both always ranking at the top of the innovation rankings, but when you look more closely, the profiles of them are very different. I think Sweden is much stronger at generating more risk-prone innovation, while Switzerland likes a lot the scalability of innovation, and the funding is kind of represented in those profiles. But any other partner that we seem deemed to try to increase this knowledge exchange between are things that we're interested in doing. And even if we've only started last year, and I've only been part of this organization since November, we've already interacted with quite a few actors in the ecosystem here, and it's continuously going. And we have quite a lot of exciting things in the pipeline, point of view of those further developments. And I have my last slide is the one summary slide. So if there's something you want to retain from the presentation today, is the services we offer, our website, and our star constellation of founding partners. So thank you a lot.